Hey there friends, it's Kate and welcome back to my channel, Golden State Educate. So for today's video, I thought I would film a plan with me video. I get a lot of questions about how I stay organized or how I plan for my week and plan each lesson out. So I thought I would take some time after school today to just explain to you my planning process, show you the whole thing from start to finish, how I plan for a week of distance learning kindergarten. I'm sure you could still use this for if you're in hybrid or if you're in person, but currently my district and my school is online only, 100% virtual. This is our 11th week that I'm planning for, so I've definitely gotten into a groove of planning and have figured out what works for me and what works for my students, and we're definitely in a routine of what we do. So it's gotten a lot easier to plan because there's just a few things that we change each week, but for the most part, the sequence and the schedule is always the same, which is great for me and great for my kindergarten students as well. So just to show you, I'm going to break it down slowly and show you what I have for the whole week, and then I'll break it down day by day and how I plan for that. I forgot my tripods. This is like not as professional as I'd hoped it would be, but that's okay. I bought this Happy Planner at the beginning of the year over the summer, and I was so excited to use it. I love planners, and I've been wanting a Happy Planner for so long, but unfortunately, I planned for the first 2 weeks of school in this and then haven't touched it since. So like, it's really, really cute, but it doesn't get used. And that's simply just because everything that I'm doing is online. Everything I'm doing is on my computer. My computer is like my lifeline, honestly, and the way that I do everything. So it just seemed like not necessary to have my lesson plans for the week in a paper planner when I could just toggle back and forth between the tabs and see what we were doing. So unfortunately, I can't show you how cute it would be if I wrote in here, but it is very effective and efficient to do it online. So here we go. Okay, so this is what my schedule looks like every single week. And I am happy that I did it online because I have every single schedule from the first week of school to look back on. So it is for the most part color coordinated with blocks of time, and then it's really easy for me to go through and just kind of change things out as needed. It's currently Thursday, and this is really typical for me. I usually stay until like 5 or 6. I stay a lot later on Thursdays and plan for my whole entire week. So that way on Fridays, when the end of the day comes, I can send out my parents the newsletter for the next week, shut my computer, and I don't have to worry about it again until like Sunday night. This seems a little bit, I know a lot of people plan the night before, or you do what works for you. For me, I knew one of my goals as a first-year teacher was to be eliminate the stress as much as possible, and so that looks like me staying late on Thursday so I can benefit myself for the whole next week. And it has a breakdown of everything I need, so I'm just going to make a copy of this. All right, so all I had to do was make a copy and then change the dates. And then for the most part, things do remain the same. The difference about this week that I'm showing you for planning is Friday is our distribution and virtual Halloween party. So the kids are coming for distribution. And we're doing a trunk-o-treat. So basically they get to come around into our parking lot and we give them little goodies from our trunks. So that'll be really fun. All the kindergarten teachers are doing it, so we get to see all of our other kindergarten kids that we don't have in our class, and they get to meet us. So that's gonna be super fun, like socially distanced from their cars. But they're gonna wear their costumes, we're gonna get dressed up. So yeah, so this is kind of a really nice week because I don't have to plan for Friday, but Friday is usually like kind of fun for us. So we have science, we have music. There's not a lot of planning that I usually have to do for Fridays. Yeah, so this week is kind of special because I don't really have to plan anything for that except for what we're going to do for our party. If you want to see what we do next week for Halloween, make sure to subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss it. I'll be vlogging. I think I'm going to do a whole weekly vlog, but if not, I'll definitely be vlogging the day that we do our distribution and our celebration for Halloween, so that will be super fun. We have our morning meeting check-in for the first 20 minutes every day. That is when you'll see us do our calendar, our days of the week, days in school, weather, and sometimes we'll have a question of the day, or we'll just have some discussion time. Like on Monday, I built in that time for us to talk about what we did on the weekend because they love doing that. The next part is a little bit different because we have science class and other different things that we do. Our reading groups can't always be at the exact same time. Like as you can see, we have science on Tuesday and Friday. So because of that, we have shorter reading group time on Tuesday and Friday, but I still wanted to make sure that I got the chance to see almost all of my groups every day. But I'll get into that in a little bit. So the first part of our day on Monday looks like phonemic awareness. And I do this as a whole class, and I use my Haggerty phonemic awareness book. I kind of didn't do this for the first several weeks, so that's why it says that we're on week 5, even though this is the 11th week of school, but we're catching up, and I have seen a big difference with my students when we do this. So we have that phonemic awareness block of time, and I introduced our sight word. So I believe I think it's the Dolch 100 sight words, and then we just go all the way down. So now that we are on the 11th week of school, we started sight words on like the 2nd or 3rd week. So we are at the word little. Little will be the word that we focus on this week. So I will introduce that on Monday. And then after that, we take a 10-minute break, and then we'll jump into reading groups. For reading groups next week, we're going to be working on I Like, because the week after next, I'll be giving the district writing assessment for the first trimester, and the assessment is essentially listening to me read a story, and then they have to write a sentence, I like blank because, and then give a reason why they like that. So when I jump into kind of deciding what I'm doing for reading groups next week, I'm going to be basing our reading group time around us practicing I like blank, because we did this past week, and we're doing it for 2 weeks prior to doing the assessment, just so in the hopes that they are as ready for it as possible. You'll see that it says cherries and pineapples. That is because I see the cherries and pineapples that day. And then my kiwis and my grapes have another activity that they will do. This is our math block. And math planning is pretty much the easiest thing. We are in kindergarten, so it doesn't get too complex. And I'm not gonna lie to you, what I do for math is I just look right to our math book, figure out what lesson we're going to be on, and plan from there. So I know that we have been talking about shapes, and we are on the 6th lesson of our 2nd unit. So I will do lesson 6, and we're introducing 3D shapes. Once I do my math, I'm ready to move on. We have ELD, designated ELD for 25 minutes, so I'll need to look at that and figure out what we're going to do for that. And then for our reading and writing lesson, we are on sequencing. So my district uses Benchmark Advanced, but the problem with this is that I don't necessarily love the books that they have chosen, and the way that they lay out the lessons are kind of boring. So instead of reading directly from the book and going straight from the curriculum, I kind of just like to see what it's talking about, or like what the focus is of the week, and then incorporate my own teaching style with books and different writing things. So I know that we have moved on to sequencing. Like order of events is what we're talking about now. So I know that my introductory lesson will be on Monday. So I have my sequencing lesson number 1, and then I do 3 of those a week. So I'll have sequencing lesson 1, lesson 2, and lesson 3. And then it's really nice because I have a decent sized book collection. My mom was a teacher, and I got a lot of books from her, and I love thrifting books, and I've gotten so many books from you all as well. I have a whole list of books in my Amazon wish list, which is always linked down below. And if you ever want to donate to my classroom or feel called to support me and my students, the link is always there for you to do so. I've gotten so many books from so many of you, and I'm just incredibly gracious and appreciative to each of every one of you. So luckily I have a lot of books, and I do, as a first-year teacher, I do give myself a small budget every month to buy books for my classroom that go with, the lessons or what I'm needing, so that way I can kind of start building my library slowly. So for sequencing, I have 3 lessons next week, and I'll have to figure out what books I want to choose for those. So another way that I choose books is I honestly look it up on Pinterest. I ask people on Instagram, but I usually just type into Google like best read aloud books for whatever I'm looking for. Sometimes I'll already have an idea in mind, but another way to find good books and great lessons without having to think about them from scratch is the internet. And then it's also really nice too because I like seeing the lists of different books that I could use, and sometimes I have some of those and sometimes I don't. So the ones that I looked up right now I have quite a bit of them. So I have The Little Old Lady Who Is Not Afraid of Anything. That's really good, and it's good for our Halloween kind of theme because Halloween is on Friday. I also have The Mitten, which is great because they go through a bunch of different animals. And then I also have Stella Luna. So I'm gonna look through these books right now and see if I want to incorporate one of them for my introductory lesson, and then if not, I'll have to do a little bit of exploring of what I want to do for that. Once I choose the book that I want to talk about, I usually choose some kind of activity that I can make on Seesaw or push out to my students, and we can work through it all together. So yeah, the end of our day, I like to keep it as relaxed and simple as possible. They love read alouds, so kind of telling them all day like, hey, I'm reading a book at the end of the day, they get excited for that. And then usually the lesson is simple, easy to follow, and then they can work through whatever activity with me or independently, just kind of depending on what it ends up being. All right, so for our introductory lesson, I chose Pancake for Breakfast. It's a really great book, and I actually do have that. I just need to find it. There's no words, so that's great for my kindergarten students. They kind of get to write the book themselves and figure out what's going on. And then it's sequencing, so it's like, you know, what goes in first, what goes in second, what goes in third, and we can talk about that. It's also really relatable for them because I'm sure they've all had pancakes before, so I like to keep it on their level as much as possible. So honestly, that's about it in terms of my weekly planning. Once I have the first day down, that's pretty much what I do for the rest of the days. I go from the top, move all the way down. Math is never too hard to plan. The writing or the reading lesson does take some time to figure out what books I want to use and the order that I want to teach the lesson in. But for the most part, like now that I have the structure and I have figured out the template that works for me, I'm able to put it in really easily. So I'm just going to finish up the rest of the days in this outline, and then I'll break down a little bit more of the nitty-gritty in terms of my slides and my reading groups and my math groups and what I plan to do for differentiation for each of those groups. All right, so the thing that takes the longest is figuring out what we're doing for reading groups, and just like differentiating it, trying to figure out what I want to do, what books work, and like how I want to make the lesson go. I love reading groups, but doing it on distance learning is honestly so hard. That's like one of my favorite things to teach, and sometimes doing it distance learning is like 10 times harder than it should be, but we're still making it work. We're still doing it. Basically, in 2 weeks, we need to do a district writing assessment, and it's essentially an opinion writing. So for kindergarten, that would look like I like blank because not all kids can write, because obviously not all kids can even write I like, but they could also do depictions, so they could draw a picture and explain their picture verbally, why they chose that and what they want to say. So that's kind of what I'm going with for some of my groups, but I do want to prepare them by giving them the opportunity to have conversations and brainstorm reasons why they might like something. So yeah, choosing the books and figuring out the lessons that I want to do for small groups definitely takes a while, and that is the bulk of my planning and preparation time. I have a subscription to Raz Kids, and this is pretty much how I choose all the books that I'll be doing for guided reading. I display it on the screen, and then we do a picture walk, and then we go through the book together, and then they read it on their own. So yeah, that's just been working for us. I really like it because I can choose from all these different levels. And I think I've decided upon, for my lowest kids, they should be able to brainstorm things and read the book Baby Animals. So I'll be doing that for my cherries and my pineapples. For my kiwis, they are reading at a level B, so this beach one should be good, talking about things that we do at the beach. So we can say, I like the beach, and then talk about why we like the beach, what our favorite thing to do at the beach is. And my grapes, they're a lot higher, and this is just a really good one for them. So we can read this book together, and then we'll talk about reasons why we love our moms or why they love their mom. So that should be really good for that. Additionally, in reading groups, a lot of the times we are reviewing letter sounds, so we're still working on letter identification and letter sounds in my cherries and my pineapples group. And then I'm also still working on sight words with my pineapples, my kiwis, and my grapes. So we start off the beginning of every reading group, either doing a letter recognition like flashcards or sight word flashcards of ones that we've read so far, and like a little mini lesson sometimes if the time allows. Since we don't have Friday reading group already, I'll probably just hit it hard with talking about things that we like and starting off with a brainstorm and a picture walk. But yeah, that's what I'll do for that. If you've seen my template of how I like to show my students their reading groups, it's a visual template and it's been going really well the last couple of weeks. We do 2 rotations and I have 4 groups. So just throwing it at them initially was kind of tricky for them. They couldn't remember what they were supposed to be doing. So I made this visual slide and I send it to them. All of their parents have printed it out so they're able to follow along with what they're supposed to be doing based off the day and the group that they're in. And this is what that looks like. So my cherries know what they're doing for rotation 1 and 2 every day, pineapples rotation 1 and 2, and then kiwis and grapes rotations 1 and 2. We've been doing this for a couple of weeks and they are in kindergarten, so it's not perfect, but they have been working through it. Our district requires kids to do iReady for 45 minutes each week, so that works out pretty nicely. They do it for 20 minutes this day and 20 minutes that day, so 20 minutes 2 times a week comes out to just about 40 minutes, which is totally fine for them and they really enjoy it. So the biggest things are figuring out what I'm doing with each group during their reading group time, and then I have to decide what they're going to do for their seesaw activities. Sometimes I'll do a boom card, and sometimes I'll create the activity myself. So this past week I had my kids do quite a few boom cards. We did them for math small groups, and for reading small groups I had them do a different one that I had for their sight word. So because they did a lot of kind of digital activities, interactive activities, I'm going to switch it up this week and I'm going to have them practice their sight words kind of like in a word work kind of style. This is what it looks like, and then I just said use different colors to write the words on the rainbow. This is my example, so they know that these are the words, the sight words that we've learned and the ones that they should be practicing. And this is what their final product should look like, writing each of those words on the lines of the rainbow. And then they will have, my apologies if you can hear that, there's kids playing on the playground right now, so they're kind of yelling. And then they'll have their blank template and then they can use the stylus or their finger to write it right there. That is what I will have my pineapples do, as well as my kiwis and my grapes. My cherries, that's just a little bit too high level for them, so I'm just going to assign a handwriting practice activity for them. Chosen this one, this is perfect. My cherries are still working on their letter formation and handwriting, so they can just go through this and trace all of their letters using their stylus, and that should take them probably the whole time. Best part about Seesaw for me is that I can use the community tab, which I've talked about in a video back in a vlog before, and then I can also easily create my own resources and push them out to my students. I also really like Seesaw because I can schedule the assignments, so that's what does take me a long time on Thursday, not only planning what I'm going to do, but creating the activities and then setting them up to be scheduled so that they are posted on the day and the time that they're supposed to be posted. I found that if I don't use that feature and just don't plan the day that it comes, there's a lot for me to do and it takes a lot out of me to try to plan it like right before, moments before. And then there was a time where I was doing it like the night before and then parents were seeing it thinking that their kid had not done it during the day, and then they had them do it at night, and then when reading groups came there was nothing to do for them. So the scheduling feature has been really nice. I schedule it for 8:15 in the morning, so the second our day starts everything is posted, and then I don't have to worry about anything for the rest of the day, and that has saved me so much time. Oh my gosh, so much time as a first year teacher. I don't know why I wasn't doing this at first. I think because I was not prepared and I wasn't ready for the day, but doing that scheduling on Thursday, I'm so tired by this time on Thursday night, and I'm sorry if you can see that. but makes my week so much easier when I know that everything is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing and I don't even have to think about it or worry about it. Because I don't see my kiwis and my grapes on Friday, so I am going to assign a seesaw activity on Thursday. So that is exactly what we would be doing in my small group on Friday, and that is what this looks like. They will be independently choosing what they like and then explaining why. This should be good for them. And then right now I'm going to record a video of exactly how they should complete this activity. And even embed videos in Seesaw, so when they're looking at this, if they get stuck.
Hi kindergarten, hello kiwis and hello grapes. The last week or so we've been talking about things that we like, and this week we introduced the word because, and we will be talking about why we like those things. So some of us have read books.
So that's just a little explanation for the kids of what they're supposed to be doing, and that has seemed to work out really well for them so far. So there you have it. That's pretty much how I break down my schedule and how I plan. Sorry if this was all over the place, but I hope I was able to explain it in some kind of a clear and concise way. If you look, you can see that everything is planned out and I have an activity ready for each one. And kind of a different week because we have the Halloween party and our distribution day, but that is all right. We are having a jam-packed week for the rest of the week. And this is just about what it looks like upcoming week. And honestly, this is pretty easy. My slides are usually the same. We don't really use the slides to necessarily learn off of. I mostly use the slides to schedule, go through our schedule, and they kind of structure our day. So what I'll do is I will take the Monday through Friday slides from this week and then just copy them and renumber them so that they're ready to go for next week. All right, so I just made my slide, so it's all set for next Monday. I just moved everything back to where it should go. I need to find a song for that still. This part, everything is all set to go for next week. All right, my friends, and that is it. It is about 5:45, so it is Thursday night, 5:45. That's pretty typical. I'm just finishing up with my planning now, and I'm really tired, but it's so worth it. I can't even tell you. It's super important for me to make sure that I'm planned ahead, so that way I don't have to waste any of my energy throughout the day planning the day, and I can focus on my kids and focus on my lesson and focus on what needs to get done. So that's just what works for me. This is just my way of planning for my virtual distance learning kindergarten classroom. I hope this was helpful and I hope you could learn a little something from it. If you want to see a more in-depth look of each of the lessons, please stay tuned for my video next week, and I will be doing a weekly vlog of everything that we are covering for the last week of October. And of course we're having a Halloween party and that trunk or treat distribution, so that should be a really fun vlog. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit the red button down below, subscribe to my channel, like this video if you liked it, and leave me a comment down below how you plan or what grade you teach and how it's working for you this year. This has been working for us so far, but as a new teacher, as a first-year kindergarten teacher, I am always looking for new suggestions or options for me to make things better for myself and for my kids. This is just how we've been doing it, and again, I hope I could help you a little bit in this vlog. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone.